everybody. Happy day 4 of my 30 days of live videos here on YouTube. Got this question on Instagram, and I thought it was a good one. I've never been asked this question before, so I thought I would go ahead and do it. So the question was, well, first, before I begin, I need your cold weather top suggestions. I asked this question on Instagram, and I got some good answers. Cuddle duds was a thing. I don't know what that is, but I got that answer a couple times. My friend said grandpa sweaters and cardigan sweaters. But if you guys have any cold weather top suggestions, let me know, because here's the problem. So behind me on my little chair here, I have this like thing. This was one of Oprah's favorite things this past winter. So my mother-in-law got it for me for Christmas, and it's so warm and wonderful, but it looks frumpy. So I need suggestions because I can't be wearing that all over the place. So anyway, that's my question, my plea to you guys. So if you have any suggestions, I will take links, I will take it all. So I appreciate anything you give. So anyway, the question today is, what is it like living in Ohio? It looks beautiful. I've never been there. So that was kind of like the gist of it. So I have lived in Ohio my entire lifetime. Cardigans daily in northern lower Michigan. Well, it's funny because you have very similar weather to what we have here in Ohio. So that's a good idea. I really should probably stock up on some cardigans. I really should do that. Living in Ohio, I've lived here my entire life. I live in the suburbs, in the central Ohio, center part of Ohio area. And it's, it's a very home-y place for me. I have never lived anywhere else. I have only lived in the city. I went to college in the city, went to high school, elementary school, like everything, all in this same metropolitan area. The Columbus area is it's a big little city, or a little big city. I don't know how you want to say it. It's a fairly major metropolitan area, but it's not as big as like LA or wherever, New York City or whatever. As far as like traffic goes, which is funny because this morning traffic was horrible here. It was like gridlock on the freeways and all the things. I have no idea what was going on, but it's certainly nowhere near as bad as Seattle, Atlanta, anywhere in Florida. Like, it's very manageable from getting around the freeways kind of standpoint. But like the livability of the city, it's a very livable place. Like, it's one of those places where it's not much of a tourist destination per se. Like, people don't just kind of come here and vacation in Central Ohio unless you are coming in for a football game, like Ohio State football, or maybe if you're a hockey fan, if you're coming in for the Blue Jackets, or you're coming in for soccer or whatever. But the vast majority of the time, people don't just vacation in Columbus. There's not a whole lot of things, tourist attractions, that really draw you here. The biggest draw is Ohio State. Like, that's just like... Ohio State football is a way of life, whether you went to Ohio State or not. It's just kind of like in you, and it comes with the territory. So everybody around you all have Ohio State Buckeye like flags and outfits, and they all go to the football games. And every Saturday, it's like the city literally shuts down when Ohio State is playing football, regardless of if it's home or away. It doesn't matter. Like, you can go to the grocery store on a Saturday at like noon, and it'll be empty. It's the greatest time to go grocery shopping. However, I'm normally in front of my TV watching the Ohio State Buckeyes, so just kind of a thing. I don't know. So as far as other things around Ohio, like season-wise, we definitely have all 4 seasons. The thing is that our spring and our fall are very kind of short-lived and rather rainy, and not super like sunny or nice as in like other parts of the US. So those are kind of short-lived. Our summers are really hot and humid. Not as much as Florida, of course, but they still can get pretty warm, like in the 90s Fahrenheit, which is a pretty warm temperature. The winter, at least here, and I know most parts of the US in the Midwestern area have been the exact same. It's been a long winter. It's been cold. Like there was a little snap there for 1 or 2 days where it was like -22 Fahrenheit, which is very cold. As far as snow, we don't normally get buckets of snow. There have been some years where we've gotten way more than others and we've had to plow the driveway and the sidewalks like every other day. It was ridiculous. This year it hasn't been horrible, but it's been like kind of steady cold and snow. But luckily this weekend it's going to start feeling like spring, which is great for spring ahead because we move our clocks forward on Sunday. So that's good. But yeah, like the weather is pretty temperate. Mostly just gray though. Like when we come back from Florida, you know, we leave the sunshine and as soon as we get up over the clouds and we start coming down into Columbus, it just stays gray to come down through the crowds and it's like, oh my God, I want my sun. So we definitely do have that seasonal affective kind of thing that's happens here. That's a very real thing for Ohio. So it's kind of thing. Another thing that we joke about is the roads are always under construction, though I feel like every city probably has that. I don't know. As far as things that are famous in the city, the Columbus Zoo is a famous zoo, apparently, because of Jack Hanna. You guys have probably heard of Jack Hanna before. He's a fairly famous zoo guy, and he resides here in Columbus as one of his places that he lives. So the Columbus Zoo is like a really good zoo. We also have, like I said, the Ohio State Buckeyes. Ohio State's one of the largest colleges, universities in the US. It has its own zip code. It is gigantic. Here, you guys probably know this, I'm a musician, and so a lot of the orchestras I play in, I did not attend Ohio State. However, I'm always like the odd man out. Whenever I'm playing in orchestras, it's like everyone around me went to Ohio State. It's like every single person, and I'm like, I didn't go to Ohio State. But, you know, I always feel like super odd because everybody else did. So, but it's like by association, I feel like I'm a Buckeye anyway, even though I didn't go there. Other little tourist things, we have the Center of Science and Industry. It's called COSI. We have that here downtown, which is a really nice science center. They've redone it over the last maybe 10, 15 years, and it's a really, really nice science center if you're a sciencey person. East Central Indiana. Oh yes, they're very similar, Tracy. Very similar, my friend. So you know all about it. Other things, let me see. Are there other things that are famous in Central Ohio? We've got the Columbus Symphony, so that's kind of famous. Not as famous as like Chicago or, you know, the New York Phil or anything, but it's a very major orchestra, so that's a good thing. We have pretty good hospitals in the city as well. That's about it. There's not really a whole lot going on in Central Ohio. So a lot of people, like I said, don't vacation here. We go other places and vacation down at Disney. Vacation and a lot of people actually go to North Carolina, South Carolina from here, and then also the Smoky Mountains, which is down in like Tennessee kind of area. So a lot of people, that's where they tend to do their vacations if you're in Central Ohio. We have a pretty good airport. It's an international airport just because it flies to like Toronto. It's not like international like LaGuardia or anything like that. But we do have a fair amount of direct flights to major places like Phoenix and Denver and Orlando and other different types of like shorter jaunts. We can get to Newark. We can get to Baltimore, you know, pretty easily. Pretty big Southwest hub here. So Southwest fans, I'm a Southwest fan. Other things, let me see. Nothing really exciting. We have lots of, it's kind of nicknamed the cow town. Ohio, Central Ohio has a lot of cows. As far as farming goes, we have a lot of corn and a lot of soybeans, and they rotate each year. So it's either a cornfield or a soybean field or a cornfield or a soybean field because nothing else will grow there because Monsanto. Don't even get me started. Anywho, so we have a lot of that around. We do have some pretty good farmers markets in the area also. New Albany has one, Clintonville has one, Worthington has one. So those are really nice to go to. Other things. Not a whole lot. There are a couple of YouTube channels that actually are based out of Central Ohio also. Amy Landino, if you guys know who she is, she was originally called, what was her, she has like a social media channel. I don't know what it's called now, but that's her channel name now, Amy Landino, so check her out. Also, we have, oh, why am I forgetting her name? I can picture her face, singer, oh my gosh, and I can't even remember what her channel name is. It'll come to me, but it's not a big hub for YouTubers. So Sunbury, you're not too far from me. I feel like a lot of YouTubers live in like California, LA, you know, like that kind of thing. So not so much here, but here's the funny thing. Little old channel, little old me, have been recognized at my local grocery store here. It's kind of weird. It's a little weird, but it's good. It's good. I love seeing my subscribers. It's like super fun. It totally catches me off guard because most of the time I feel like they are moms of my music students and I should know who they are. And then they're like, no, I watch you on YouTube. And I'm like, really? You really watch my channel on YouTube? It's just funny. So anyway, I would call her a friend now, but it's just fun. So yeah, so that is like Ohio in a nutshell. There's really not too much exciting about Ohio. We do have like nice little metro parks. We have kind of like state parks and things like that. It's nothing really kind of cool. We don't really have mountains. We have hills. Mostly it's flat. It kind of depends on where the iceberg kind of with Ohio history kind of came to like here. So it's like half the state, or part of the state, it's like angled, is very, very flat, and part of the state is like a little hilly and mountainy and sort of hilly-ish, kind of, not really. Yeah, so we don't really have a whole lot of exciting like scenery or anything. Hello from Pataskala. We do the farmer's market. Yeah. Do you go to Lynn's? Is that where you go? Of course, all that depends on the weather. Yeah, absolutely. For sure. Starting in May. I'm assuming you're talking about Lynn's Farmer's Market. Maybe. Sounds like Nebraska. Yes, absolutely. Just kind of flat. You can see a lot farther in Nebraska than we can see here though. We do have enough like hills where you can't really see super far and wide. It's either that or we just have a whole lot of like suburban housing developments. That's a big thing here. We have a lot of that. Condos aren't as big of a thing here. Some parts have a good amount of apartments, but it is literally like one community of like housing development followed by another, followed by another. The school system in Central Ohio is actually really pretty good. Some are obviously better than others, as in any major metro city. But you know, they're pretty good. They're pretty good schools, which is a really nice thing too. A lot of private schools, a few charter schools, a lot of public schools around the area. It's like every little community has it, and every community has really big schools. So like here in Central Ohio, the vast majority of like the suburban schools either have one or two high schools, many middle schools, and even more elementary schools. So it's not like this is small town America, at least not where I am. Like I graduated with about 600 students, which, you know, in some places that's not huge. I know up in Cleveland, there's some places that have like thousands of students. So it's definitely, I'm not from a small town, I will just say. Central Ohio is not a small town, but compared to the sprawling metropolis of LA, it would be considered a small podunk town. So, other things, I don't know. Like that's pretty much the gist of it. Lynn's is awesome. There's a community one downtown. Oh, nice. Yes, they do. Yes, absolutely. My mother-in-law loves taking the trip out to Lynn's to do her shopping. We always pick pumpkins It's like a thing. We have an outing and pick apples. That's where all of, I don't know if you saw my how to make applesauce, I think I did applesauce in the Instant Pot video. I had one from this past fall, and those apples, we took a trip out to Lynn's to get those. A little bit of a hike, but not too bad. So yeah, that's what it's like to live in Ohio. It's a very nice place. It's quiet. There's not a whole lot going on here. It's pretty, you know, pretty tame. It's funny, when you go downtown, during rush hour, it's kind of a pain to go in and out of downtown and like drive through downtown areas and like go on the freeway to get down there and all the things. But after rush hour, or like from 10 o'clock to, I don't know, almost lunchtime, and then almost lunchtime to almost like going home time, it's really pretty dead downtown. And then after like 7 o'clock, it's like nothing happens. So we took a trip out east to visit some of my essential oil family, and like 2 years ago, not quite, almost 2 years ago. And while we were out there, we drove to New York City, and we went and saw can't remember, the really, really big Lutheran church that's in, it's like Gothic cathedral. It's downtown New York City. And like driving in, I had never seen so many lanes across ever in my life. So driving actually in downtown, it was not rush hour. It was like before lunch, like, I don't know, 10:30 in the morning, whatever. There were people stopped in the road, like just making deliveries or whatever. And like so much honking and like people everywhere. I am out of my element. I am not a New York City girl. So it's definitely not like that here. It's not. Everybody is really, you know, very tame. There's not a whole lot of honking that happens. Most people are like, oh, excuse me, excuse me. Like, I don't know. It's very Midwestern hospitality, stereotypical stuff. So I don't know. It's a good place to be. Good place to be. All right, y'all. Well, thanks for hanging with me this evening. Again, if you have any questions or any suggestions on like warm, like cozy, comfy tops, I'm okay with bottoms. Like I've got enough pants and jeans and things, but your favorite, maybe your favorite sweater from Amazon or your favorite cardigan or something you found at Walmart, if you'd link those in the comments, I would love that, because I am taking all the suggestions because I can't wear this in public. I just can't. And I know it's going to warm up, but for next year, I'm taking any suggestions that I can. And if you have any other questions that you want me to cover in future videos, I've got 26 more of them coming your way in the next few days. So I will take any suggestions that you have. All right, y'all, have a good rest of your evening.